Most people think losing fat is about cutting calories, starving yourself, or spending endless hours on the treadmill, but the truth is, fat loss is not about eating less. It's about eating right. And the first meal of the day, your breakfast, is either setting you up for fat storage or for fat burning. Let me explain why. When you wake up in the morning, your body is primed to burn energy. But what most people do is pour a big bowl of cereal, toast some bread, or grab a bagel on the go. These foods spike insulin, inflame your cells, and immediately send your metabolism into fat storage mode. That's why you feel sluggish a few hours later and crave more carbs. You're on a blood sugar roller coaster. If you fix breakfast, you fix your metabolism. Today, I'm going to share with you 3 simple breakfast rules that can help you burn 5 pounds of fat in the next 5 days without counting calories, without restricting yourself, and without relying on willpower. These rules work because they lower insulin, reduce inflammation, and flip your metabolism into fat-burning mode. And the best part, they're easy to follow. You'll still feel satisfied, and fat loss becomes a natural side effect. By the end of this lesson, you'll know exactly what to eat, what to avoid, and even how to use movement after breakfast to accelerate results. So let's dive into the first rule. When you wake up in the morning, your body is in one of its most sensitive states of the entire day. Cortisol has done its job of raising blood sugar to get you moving. Your metabolism is primed, and your cells are ready to use energy efficiently. This is why the very first thing you put into your mouth determines whether your body will spend the next several hours burning fat for fuel or hoarding fat like a savings account that never gets touched. The sad reality is that most people unknowingly start the day by slamming the brakes on fat loss. They pour a bowl of cereal, grab a bagel, toast bread, or reach for orange juice thinking they're doing something healthy. What actually happens is a massive spike in blood glucose, which triggers a surge of insulin, and that insulin immediately signals the body to stop burning fat and start storing it. From that moment, you are locked in fat storage mode. Now think about what this looks like throughout the day. Imagine stepping onto a roller coaster first thing in the morning. It climbs quickly to the top with that big bowl of cereal or a glass of juice, and then it comes crashing down a couple hours later. That crash leaves you tired, irritable, and craving more sugar or processed carbs, which starts the cycle all over again. The roller coaster repeats meal after meal, snack after snack, until by the end of the day, you've ridden that ride 6 or 7 times. Each crash makes you more dependent on quick energy, more reliant on caffeine, and further away from the fat-burning state you desperately want to be in. This is what happens when insulin spikes are running the show. Now, compare that to a different kind of ride, one that's smooth and steady. When you start your morning with protein and healthy fats, instead of refined carbs, insulin barely moves. Instead of a roller coaster, you're on a flat, steady train track. Energy is consistent, cravings are muted, and your body feels calm instead of desperate. You're not thinking about your next snack at 10 a.m. because you're satisfied, your brain is sharp, and most importantly, your metabolism is unlocked to burn fat. It's not about willpower or discipline, it's about biochemistry. When insulin is kept low, your fat-burning hormones are allowed to come out and do their job. The reason breakfast is so important is because it's the first domino. If the first domino falls in the wrong direction, the rest of them follow. Get breakfast wrong, and your blood sugar swings, your insulin spikes, your cravings rise, and your fat-burning hormones get suppressed for hours. But get breakfast right, and everything else falls into place. You stabilize blood sugar, you feel more in control of your appetite, and you create an environment inside your body where fat burning becomes effortless. The urgency here is simple. Breakfast is not just another meal, it's the decision that sets the metabolic tone for your entire day. If you make the wrong choice, you've already lost ground before lunch. If you make the right choice, you're in fat burning mode from the very start. The very first rule is to remove the roadblocks that are keeping your body from burning fat, because even if you eat fewer calories or exercise harder, if these roadblocks are still in place, your metabolism won't cooperate. The 2 main ones are high insulin and cellular inflammation. Insulin is a hormone with a powerful job. Out of the hundreds of hormones in your body, it's the only one that signals your metabolism to store fat. When insulin is elevated, your body gets the message to hold on to energy and tuck it away in your fat cells. When insulin is low, the opposite happens. You get the green light to start burning stored fat for fuel. Think of insulin as the playground bully. When he shows up, all the other kids scatter. Your fat-burning hormones are those kids. They can't do their job when insulin is around because he takes over the playground. So if breakfast is spiking insulin, fat loss is shut down before you even leave the house. But insulin isn't the only problem. The second roadblock is inflammation at the cellular level. Your hormones are like messengers delivering instructions to your cells. If those cells are inflamed, the message doesn't get through. It's like trying to make a phone call with too much static on the line. You might be shouting, yeah, but the other person can't hear you. When your cells are inflamed, your fat-burning hormones like leptin and adiponectin can't deliver their message to release fat. The body becomes resistant, and fat burning grinds to a halt. The biggest culprits that drive this inflammation are bad fats. Vegetable oils and seed oils like canola, corn, soybean, safflower, sunflower, cottonseed, grapeseed, And rice bran oil are cheap and used everywhere, especially in processed foods and restaurant meals. When you cook your eggs in canola oil or use margarine instead of butter, you're taking a food that could be healthy and turning it into something toxic. These oils are unstable, they oxidize easily, and once inside the body, they create massive amounts of oxidative stress and inflammation. That inflammation acts like glue that locks the fat inside your cells, no matter how hard you try to burn it. Another sneaky roadblock comes from artificial sweeteners. Many people think they're making a smart choice by swapping sugar for diet sodas or packets of aspartame, sucralose, or saccharin, but these chemicals confuse your body, alter your gut microbiome, and in some people even raise insulin almost as much as sugar does. On top of that, they keep your sweet cravings alive, making it harder to break free from the cycle. Artificial sweeteners don't solve the problem, they just disguise it while creating new issues behind the scenes. So if you want to create a body that naturally burns fat, the very first thing to do is clear the path, lower insulin by removing the foods that spike it, and lower inflammation by getting rid of the bad fats and chemical sweeteners that keep your hormones from working. When these roadblocks are gone, your fat-burning hormones finally get a chance to step back on the playground and do their job the way they were designed. Once you've cleared the roadblocks, the next step is to put the right fuel into your body. This is where the 30-30-10 formula comes in, and it's one of the simplest yet most powerful changes you can make to flip your metabolism into fat-burning mode. The idea is to build your first meal around 30 grams of protein, 30 grams of healthy fat, and fewer than 10 grams of carbohydrates. When you hit those targets, you're setting off a chain reaction of hormones that crush cravings, stabilize energy, and unlock your fat reserves for fuel. Protein is the star player here because it does more than just build muscle. When you start your day with a solid dose of protein, you activate hormones like peptide YY and leptin that send powerful signals to your brain saying you're full and satisfied. These hormones work like a traffic light that turns red and stops the urge to keep eating. Without them, it feels like you're constantly fighting hunger, but when they're active, the fight disappears. Pair that protein with healthy fats and you get an even stronger effect. Fats slow digestion, smooth out blood sugar responses, and provide long-lasting energy that doesn't spike and crash the way carbs do. Together, protein and fat form a combination that keeps you feeling full for hours, eliminates the need for mid-morning snacks, and creates a calm, steady focus that carries you through the day. To make this formula practical, let's walk through a few real-life examples. One option is 5 pasture-raised eggs scrambled in butter with half an avocado and a couple of slices of nitrate-free bacon. That's a nutrient powerhouse packed with protein, healthy fats, and barely any carbs. Another option is a simple protein shake made with 2 scoops of grass-fed beef protein or a clean animal-based protein, blended with unsweetened macadamia nut milk ice, and maybe a spoonful of almond butter. It's quick, it's portable, and it delivers the right macronutrient balance without sabotaging your goals. A third option, one of my personal favorites, is a small steak paired with an egg cooked in ghee. This combination not only hits the 30-30-10 targets, it also feels indulgent and satisfying, proving that fat loss meals don't have to feel like punishment. When you start your day with meals like this, something incredible happens. Instead of riding the blood sugar roller coaster, your energy stays stable. Instead of craving something sweet at 10 o'clock, you're still satisfied and focused. Instead of feeling like fat loss requires constant willpower, it starts to feel effortless because your body is running on the right fuel. You've removed the foods that keep you stuck, and now you've replaced them with a formula that keeps insulin low, inflammation quiet, and your fat-burning hormones active. This is how you make fat loss automatic without counting calories or obsessing over portion sizes. It's not about restriction, it's about composition. And when you get that composition right, fat burning becomes your natural state. The third rule is the accelerator, the step that takes everything you've done with food and multiplies the effect. It's as simple as going for a walk after breakfast. This might sound too easy to make a real difference, but the science behind post-meal walking is powerful. When you eat, glucose from your food enters the bloodstream. Normally, insulin has to come in and shuttle that glucose into your cells, and if insulin is doing all the work, fat burning gets put on hold. But your muscles have their own built-in system called GLUT4 transporters, and they act like little doors that open up when you move. A brisk walk after breakfast literally signals your muscles to swing open those doors and soak up glucose directly from the blood. No insulin required. Think of it like this. Imagine a crowded hallway where everyone is trying to squeeze through one narrow doorway guarded by a security guard named insulin. That line builds up, it gets stressful, and fat storage happens while everyone waits to get through. But if you go for a walk, suddenly a bunch of side doors appear all along the hallway. People can walk right in without the security guard. The line disappears, the stress is gone, and everything flows smoothly. That's what walking does to your glucose and insulin response. Research backs this up. Studies show that just a 20 to 30-minute walk after eating can dramatically reduce post-meal glucose spikes and improve insulin sensitivity. In other words, your body handles the food you ate more efficiently. with less insulin required. Lower insulin means fat burning can resume faster instead of being shut down for hours after breakfast. This is why I call it the fat loss accelerator. It doesn't take long, it doesn't have to be intense, and it doesn't require a gym. You don't need to sprint or push yourself to exhaustion. A simple brisk walk around the block, in your neighborhood, or even pacing around your office can make all the difference. What makes this habit so powerful is how it works in harmony with the other two rules. When you remove the roadblocks of high insulin and inflammation, and then fuel your body with the 30-30-10 formula, you've already set up a fat-burning environment. By adding a walk right after breakfast, you speed up the process and ensure that glucose is handled without big insulin spikes. You get better energy, more stable focus, and faster access to stored fat. This is how you stack the deck in your favor, making sure your first meal of the day doesn't just avoid mistakes but actively accelerates your results. It's not about exercising harder, it's about moving smarter. And this simple walk is the missing link that ties it all together. One of the things I hear all the time when people start shifting their breakfast is about coffee. Can you drink it and still burn fat? The answer is yes, but with a caveat. Coffee can actually support fat burning when you use it the right way, but the mistake is leaning on it as a crutch or drinking it immediately when you wake up. What happens in that first 90 minutes of the morning is your body is producing cortisol naturally, which helps you wake up and mobilize energy. If you hit your system with caffeine right away, it stacks on top of cortisol, creating jitters, energy crashes, and even more stress hormones that work against fat loss. If you wait about 90 minutes before your first cup, you ride your natural energy wave, and then coffee becomes a tool instead of a trap, and make it clean organic beans, filtered water, and avoid the sugary creamers and artificial sweeteners that undo all your progress. A little splash of unsweetened almond milk or heavy cream works perfectly. Another question is what happens if you don't even eat breakfast? Skipping breakfast altogether can be powerful because it's essentially intermittent fasting, and fasting is one of the strongest ways to lower insulin and flip your body into fat-burning mode. The key is that whenever you do eat your first meal, whether it's at noon or 8 a.m., you still apply the same principles. Keep insulin low, keep inflammation down, follow the 30-30-10 formula, and you'll get the same results. It's not about the clock on the wall, it's about what you put into your body when you break that fast. Oatmeal is another myth that needs to be cleared up. We've been told for decades that it's a heart-healthy way to start the day, but the reality is it spikes your blood sugar through the roof, which means insulin comes rushing in and fat burning shuts off. Even steel, cut oats, or the so-called healthy versions still hit your system like sugar. On top of that, most conventional oats are heavily sprayed with glyphosate, a toxic chemical linked to gut issues and inflammation. Starting your day with that combination is like asking your body to store fat while throwing a wrench into your digestion at the same time. That's not the foundation you want if your goal is to burn fat. And what about those who choose a plant-based lifestyle? You can still absolutely follow the same rules. Instead of eggs or animal protein, go for something like fermented tempeh sauteed in coconut oil with a spoonful of almond butter on the side. You'll hit your protein, you'll get those healthy fats, and you'll keep the carbs under 10 grams. The principles don't change whether you eat meat or not. It's still about lowering insulin, keeping inflammation down, and using food composition to your advantage. When you frame it this way, the myths about breakfast lose their power, and what you're left with is a clear, flexible approach that fits any lifestyle and still drives fat loss. When you step back and look at these three rules together, you start to see how powerful they really are. None of them require you to calories cut out entire food groups or punish yourself with hours of exercise. They're simple, strategic shifts that change the way your body handles the very first meal of the day. Removing the roadblocks of high insulin and inflammation clears the path for fat burning. Fueling your body with the 30-30-10 formula gives you steady energy, controls hunger, and keeps cravings away. Adding that short walk after breakfast accelerates the whole process, helping your body handle glucose efficiently so you can tap back into burning fat right away. This is not about restriction, it's about alignment. When you align with how your metabolism is designed to work, you stop fighting against your body and start working with it. That's when the magic happens. Those stubborn pounds that felt impossible to lose start to come off. 5 pounds in 5 days isn't a gimmick. It's the natural result of lowering insulin, reducing inflammation, and stabilizing energy. Your body has been waiting for the chance to let go of the fat it's been holding on to, and these three rules give it that chance. Imagine waking up tomorrow and knowing that your breakfast is setting you up for success instead of sabotage. Imagine going through the day without the roller coaster of energy crashes and cravings pulling you toward snacks and sugar. Imagine having a steady focus, more clarity, and the confidence that comes from finally feeling like your body is on your side again. That's what these changes deliver, not just for a few days, but as a sustainable way of living. The key is to start. Tomorrow morning, make the choice to remove the roadblocks, to fuel with the right formula, and to take that walk. Small actions, stacked together, create massive results over time. You don't need to wait weeks to feel it. You'll notice the difference in just a few days. And once you experience that shift, it becomes easier to keep going. This is your chance to take back control of your metabolism, to burn fat in a way that feels natural, and to set yourself up for lasting health and energy. All it takes is deciding that tomorrow morning, you're going to do breakfast differently.